So this is the start of something new. Welcome to my first proper painting log. This is going to be a place, or a video series of sorts, where I'm going to catalogue all my painted miniatures for future reference for myself and for others to critique and tell me just how badly painted they are. Each miniature will have a little bit of a story accompanying it. Now, I have tried similar things in the past before. I've just shown the miniature for either 30 seconds just on the old rotating stand or even longer, and people didn't seem too impressed. I think it's because it's just literally a 360-degree rotating miniature. Everyone likes a little story and a little accompanying, I would say text, but it's not text, is it? It's vocals or narration over the top. Now, I'm not going to lie, this series was inspired by Wib over at Snipe and Wib. I really enjoyed his painting series and wanted to try something similar for myself, as it's nice to keep all your miniatures in one place. Now, this is my first one, so the presentation may need a little tweaking, so please be gentle. Let's jump in and have a look at our first miniature. So first up is this Contemptor Dreadnought, which has been painted in the style of the very old style Night Lords from the Warhammer 40,000 Epic game, which came before Space Marine. I think it was just called Epic, or was it called Space Marine? I really am not sure. Anyway, the artwork had them as a very dark blue with a bat as their chapter logo, and the bat I think is considerably cooler than the winged skull we have now, and I do love the old school aesthetic of that. So I attempted to paint one of those onto the Contemptor's shoulder pad and the back banner, which I think has worked out okay, although as it was my first foray into this, I think next time it could do with a little more work. Originally I was going to paint the glowing eyes an orangey red, but I thought maybe a fluorescent green or a glowing green would give it more of that Skeletor villain style look, especially on that skull, and I think it's come out quite nicely, to be honest. And going forward, if I were to paint any more of these, I would definitely go with a fluorescent green eye lens. I was really happy with how the blue turned out. It was just an Imperial blue from Vallejo glaze airbrushed over the top of a pre-shade of just your black and white mix. I say mix, what I really mean is your proper zenithal highlights and all that jazz, but I didn't actually listen to any jazz while painting this, from what I remember. Next up is Inquisitor, Kyria or Kyria, Draxus, and I'd been sitting on this miniature for quite a while. I wasn't sure entirely how I wanted to paint it. Was I going to follow the box art, or was I going to come up with my own scheme? The trouble I have coming up with my own schemes is I can never settle on anything. Nothing ever seems quite good enough, and I will constantly change my mind every 5 minutes. But I did watch a few YouTube videos of people painting a sort of purple to cyan transition, so I thought, bugger it, I'm just going to try it on this miniature. And to be fair, I think it came out quite well. I mean, my details on this are absolutely atrocious. The head literally looks like a potato, but I did really enjoy doing the armour on this one. It really does look kind of shiny, especially at arm's length, and I think arm's length is where we're going to keep this miniature, because I doubt I'll be paying much more attention. I can't see myself using it in any games or anything, so it was really just a test piece. Although as far as Inquisitors go, I do think this is one of my favourites out there. Apart from that one that looked like Van Helsing back in the day. Wasn't that everyone's favourite Inquisitor? What was his name? Inquisitor Locke or something? I forget. I'm sure one of you experts out there will shout at me and tell me what his name was. What I did think was cool about this miniature was the Shuriken catapult. I think it was the first Xenos weapon seen on an Imperial model, since the old Space Marine with a Shuriken catapult from back in the Rogue Trader era. So that, I think, is awesome and deserves special consideration or something. Now, next up is a kind of test I was doing. A few of my friends are looking into playing Horus Heresy again, especially if this new edition drops. By the time you see this video, the new edition might have even dropped by then, who knows. It is currently the very tail end of 2021, although I can imagine this video going out in 2022 at some point. Now, these were a test of a colour scheme I'd come up with on one of my runs I'd been doing to lose weight for a wedding. I did actually like the idea of having a sort of white marine colour scheme with a red arm or some red armour panels, but it did look a bit white scars-ish. Sadly, I'm really not a fan of the white scars in general, so I thought I would say these were a Blood Angels spin-off, you know, a Black Shields force based off the Blood Angels somehow. I'd come up with the fluff or lore later to explain that one. However, when I was halfway through painting these guys, I realised they looked a lot like a scheme which had already been painted by someone, which also were a Blood Angels spin-off. Sadly, I can't remember their name, but I did decide to just go forward. I'll try and put the name in the bottom left there in the lower third. Are they the Absolvers? I can't remember, something like that. And so I changed them up a little bit and tried to freehand their Chalice logo onto their shoulder pads there, which I think came out okay. I then realised I painted the shoulder pads the wrong way round. The chapter logo should be on the other shoulder, with the tactical designation on their right shoulder. But never mind, not many people will realise that. So next up is another miniature I had been sitting on for a very, very long time indeed, and this is the Genestealer Broodlord, or was he called the Patriarch again in the end? I think he was just a Broodlord, and this guy comes from the Deathwatch Overkill set, and I remember taking my daughter swimming one day when that box set came out, and that must have been a fair few years ago now, before the days of Primaris even, if I remember correctly. Now, I was very pleased because it came with Genestealer Cult, and Genestealer Cult were one of my favourite looking 40k armies from the Rogue Trader era, and I was always very sad to see that they hadn't been around for all those years, so I was very happy and very surprised to see the Genestealer Cult reborn. So I immediately rushed out and bought a cup. I bought a cup of Genestealers. No, I immediately rushed out and bought a set of the Overkill to paint some of these new Genestealer Cult, which I thought were amazing because they really did look like the old Genestealer Cult without being terrible sculpts, if that makes any sense. But as is the way with all things, the box set sat in my cupboard untouched for many, many moons. I think I even sold the Deathwatch out of that set, having no interest in those, but eventually started painting the Genestealers. And the first one that has been completed is this, I should say completed, not completed. I don't think that's a genuine English word. The first one that has been completed is this Patriarch, which, to be fair, I'm quite happy with. I did have to paint around 30 of these using a dry brush method. Now, when I show my miniatures, I use this rotating display stand here. It's got a clear top and some solar panels on the side which provide the energy for the rotating motion. But on the bottom is a little piece of embossed text. Don't know if you can make that out there, but it does say, if you're enjoying this video, then please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. That means you, Alex. If you are enjoying the content here on the channel, then please consider joining the Patreon, the link to which is in the description below and up here. And last on the list today is these Alpha Legion. I must have been drinking or something because my vocal abilities today are terrible. These Alpha Legion Cataphractii Terminators, which I had actually finished a fair few years ago with the first roll around of Horus Heresy when we used to play that together. However, I did need to make a few adjustments to these miniatures as they had no markings or anything and looked very, very bare indeed. So I've just been in and picked out a few details. You could say it's cheating as I haven't really completed the unit, but as I'm in charge of the video, I'm going to say I've painted them. Well, I have painted them, haven't I, a long time ago, but I've technically repainted them recently. So yes, we'll allow this. So yeah, these were really good fun to paint back in the day. These were just a light blue glaze over the top of a silver base coat with an airbrush. And when you realise you can do these sort of coloured filters over a metallic paint, you realise you don't actually want to do them anymore, which is what I've ended up with. I think these don't really look right on the table because metallic things like this don't seem to scale well. They look like toys when you put them on the table there, and it makes me think I really should have just gone with a non-metallic effect, or you know, just a matte teal, because these things stick out like a sore thumb. If that's what you want, then that's what you should do. Maybe if I put a lot more weathering into them, then it would work. But as of now, I've decided this scheme does not look right at this scale. So we won't be doing any more of these in the near future. So there you go, that was my first proper painting log. What did you think of that? Which was your favourite miniature in there and why? What were your thoughts on the present station? Have you been to the present station? That sounds like a shop. What were your thoughts on the presentation? Do you think that it was, do you think fit? Do you think it was too long or do you think it was too short? Would you like to see more miniatures for less time each, or maybe less miniatures with more of a story accompanying each? Now there are some more painting logs on the way. I've batch created a few of these and there will definitely be more in future. As to what format they will take, I don't know. Again, your comments and criticisms, that was quite hard to say, are very welcome. Please let me know what you think needs changing, what you liked, what you didn't like, and let me know in the comments below. If you want to see some more painting logs, and I hope you do, then check out the playlist up here somewhere. As always, thank you very much for watching, and always remember to drill your barrels.